everyone, and welcome. Today I am going to take you to the Museum of Decorative Arts that is doing a special exhibition, obviously in Paris, and a grand magazine. It looks like magazine, are shops, and it really is a exhibition into, I should say, the start of department stores, which is fantastic. So it actually is during the time period. You're going to ask, like, when was this? It actually was in the time period of Napoleon III, who actually recreated Paris. This is the time period of Haussmann, where Haussmann just tore up absolutely massive parts of Paris and created the boulevards and the building looks that you see today. The only area I think that wasn't done might have been part of Montmartre, because Montmartre was not part of Paris, and why am I blanking out? The Museé. The Museé. The Museé has always been an area of immigrants, and for some reason that area was not done. Some of you know why it wasn't done. Put your comments down below, because it's really great that we all share our knowledge, because God knows I don't have all the information. But you're talking about kind of, they describe it as 1852 to 1870. And it's fascinating. I mean, some of the actual pictures, and I think you'll be able to see them in the video, of like what the city looked like at that time. Really incredible. Prior to that, intense poverty. To me, it looked like intense poverty. After that is when we get the beautiful buildings, and I don't know where people went. I don't know enough about Paris history. That's actually a beautiful book that I need to reread. It's called Paris by Edward Rutherford, and it's fantastic. But it really the exhibition talks about, a number of videos before I did Bon Marché. And Bon Marché was basically the first department store. And it's very interesting how it was. I show you, I think, a picture of Mr. and Mrs., and I'm not going to say their name right, but at the very end of the video, you'll see that the woman actually took over running Bon Marché after her husband and her son passed away. But this was the time period when they call it the I cannot pronounce anything today, democratization of fashion. Good Lord, help me. Because prior to this, nothing was made on a mass scale. Everything was done, at home, and at piecemeal, piece by piece. And so this changed because things were ready-made was happening. And part of it was the Industrial Revolution during this particular time period. Women were starting to work, and outside of the home in some of the factories, whether it was lace making or embroidery or whatever it might have been, or weaving, all glass making even. Some of those took women out of the home, and so consequently there was not as much time to sew. But it goes on and on. The exhibition was really quite interesting, how modern marketing was actually started. They figured out they had to do catalogs, and wait till you see some of the photos or the videos of what the catalogs look like. To me, you could frame them. They're absolutely beautiful because they're so detailed, and they're like etchings. Absolutely gorgeous. So they had catalogs. They started to realize that the children's market was a really great market to get more people into the stores. And so they started to make toys. And so I show you some of those. The mail order business, because of the catalogs, the mail order business started, which basically is a precursor to e-commerce, which I think is so interesting. So it it was a combination of how Paris was changing at this time period, which maybe is a totally separate conversation from the start of department stores, but because they were happening at the same time, there were some bleeding from one innovation into the other. But I hope you enjoy the exhibition. The Museum of Decorative Arts, I also took you at the end off to see some of the various decorative arts that they have. I love china, I love clocks, I love anything that's odd and special that you might have in your house. And they're all over the place in the Museum of Decorative Arts. They're doing a renovation though, and it was so unbelievably confusing. And I've been there before, but it was incredibly confusing this time. Maybe it's me. But this was the actual exhibit that I saw. It ends on October 13th. So it's not something that you can put on your bucket list if you're planning a trip to Paris. But really fascinating. I hope you enjoy it as much as I did. Just that intersection of commerce and industry and, history, all of that. Because we always think that whatever we're creating today is new and fresh. I don't care if it's a YouTube video, it's a blog, it's even a book, and certainly an exhibition, or stores, or whatever it might be. There's somebody who created something similar in the past. So anyways, enjoy. And if you liked it, please give me a thumbs up. It really helps with YouTube. And do comment, because many of you know much more about any of the topics that I talk about than I do, and therefore share. I think it's important that you share your knowledge with everyone who happens to follow this channel, which is now over 12,000 people. It's kind of amazing to me. So anyways, then also subscribe if you haven't subscribed. And as you all know, I flip a little bit. I do some of these come with me videos, as well as when it's just you and I talking, or I should say me talking about those particular issues that women of a certain age are, working through, dealing with. And you might say, how in the world are those two things related? Well, this is not a channel or a travel channel. This is a channel about how do we make our next chapters, how much time we've got, and hopefully it's a long time, but how do we make them fabulous? How do we design a chapter that fulfills us, that energizes us, that brings us joy? That's what this channel is all about. And I think travel, at least for me, whether it's armchair travel or actually walking and traveling, inspires me. And I hope it does you too. So anyways, thank you for joining me today. And as we say in Paris, à bientôt. Okay, today I am going up Rue Dauphine. Dauphine is a busy street, goes all the way down to Saint-Germain. If you keep going all the way that way, you end up on Saint-Germain. This way, you head towards the sun. Viewpoint. There was a wonderful art gallery up here that I fell in love with years ago. I'm going to see if it's still there. This is how you get confused in Paris. You think that's a shortcut. It's not. This was the gallery I loved years ago. There was an artist, actually an American artist, that was highlighted here. But they have interesting things. Some photography. I love that painting in the books. Exceptional. But look at that. The art piece in the background. I don't know if you can see it because of the reflection. It's the Eiffel Tower. It's really quite beautiful. Another interesting one. And I'm still on Rue Dauphine. You can see a reflection. It's Sunday, so none of these are open. Otherwise, I would take you in. It's a very interesting corner. This is, oh gosh. We're on Rue Dauphine. I'm going to give you streets. That is also fascinating. It's changed hands many times. They do really big pieces of art. Gives you an idea. And it's called Gallery Pont Neuf. And I'm going to see, yes, here's the shop, which is cool. It's not open. I'm going to go to it this week. But I share it with you because it's right on the corner of Pont Neuf and Quai Rendopiste, if I'm pronouncing that at all correctly, which I'm not. But look at all these painting supplies and brushes. If you've got an artist in your life, you would love it. Here's the hours. We don't open on Monday at 2 o'clock. There's not a lot of hours there, but it is such a cool shop. I have a granddaughter who loves art, and Charlie, you would love this. As I said, this is Sunday, so it's quiet. It's quieter than it normally is. Got some runners. This is the sun. Loads and loads of tourists in Paris. The Olympics are over, so I don't know if that's why. All that pent-up tourism. But anyways, that's the truth. This is Pont Neuf, which is the, even though it's like titled in English translation New Bridge, it's the oldest bridge in Paris, which is interesting. When you cross this bridge, you might see the Eiffel Tower in the background, but you end up on an island, which is called Île de Cité. I have stayed in an apartment through Paris Perfect a number of times at the Île de Cité. It's a nice location because you are close to the Musée. If that's something that interests you, you're also close to the first, second arrondissement, if that interests you. It's just beautiful. It's a beautiful day in Paris. Well, weather-wise, it's not so beautiful, but the neighborhood is lovely. It's cold, which of course, when I packed up to head to the museum, I thought it was warmer, so I'm cold. Île de Cité has a center courtyard called the, I think it's Place de Dauphine. Lovely area. Really is. Lots of food, lots of apartments, and they love to play, I can't remember the name of it, pont something, with balls, bowling in the center. So sometimes you will hear that. Isn't that interesting? Gorgeous. All kinds of little shops, odd little shops along the way. Don't you love it? Right there is Rue de Rivoli, and when we cross over that final bridge, part of the bridge, we're actually on the right bank. To give you an idea. Across the street there is the renovated, I think it took something like 16 years to renovate the Samaritain. Again, I'm sure I'm not pronouncing it correctly, but it's a great big huge department store. And the Samaritain. Isn't that beautiful? Look at those little daisies. This is Rue de Rivoli. I've heard there's this great hotel. It's called Cheval Blanc. That's connected to the Samaritain department store. I am going to check that out. That sounds wonderful. I've also heard there's a great restaurant in there. So it's another opportunity. Beautiful church. Big church, beautiful church. And straight ahead is a restaurant that is excellent. La Fumoir. Wonderful. Across the street, just so you know, there's like bus stops here. I don't understand this. That's the Louvre. La Fumoir. If you can get a seat by the window, I think it's the best. But it's a pretty restaurant. It's old, but it's a pretty restaurant. I'm sorry, I was wrong about the street we were at before. All of the streets that go along the Seine are called quays. It's spelled Q-U-I, I believe. Q is pronounced K in French. This is Rue de Rivoli. We'll get there, I promise. And I apologize for my sniffling. It's freezing out, and I did not dress warm enough. So like I said, I apologize for my sniffles. This is all part of the Louvre, and we are going to the Museum of Decorative Arts because there's a special exhibit there, which is all on the beginning or the start of department stores, which I thought you might find interesting. Museum of Decorative Arts is attached to the back of the Louvre. I will show you a bit of the outside of the Louvre. The center is usually very pretty, and right now it's ugly because they are doing some kind of a project. These old buildings require projects, right? But hopefully I can find where I need to be. That is a lot of people. Okay, remember when I shared that gift shops within museums are wonderful? This is one of the best. It's the Musée d'Arts Décoratifs, or the Museum of Decorative Arts. Just look at this. It's incredible. And this is what we're going to see. magazine or shops, shops where people go. Here's the entrance. Gives you a view. That is pretty. Oh my. We only think of Paris as we see it today. This is the Boulevard Haussmann, and this is the Avenue. 1876 to 1877. They rebuilt it. That is the family. They are the founders of Bon Marché, one of my favorite stores out there. It is Boussicat. And I think you can see it here. Grew up in Normandy. Fascinating. Okay, this is fascinating. Mrs. Boussicat actually came from extreme poverty. She ended up marrying Mr. Boussicat, who founded Bon Marché. Her name appeared nowhere except when her husband and her son died. She became the head of Bon Marché and ran it successfully. Took over the management of the store for a very long time. She was an incredible woman. She was actually quite generous in the clothing. Look at that. Imagine going shopping in that outfit. I'll come around. But here gives you some viewpoints or pictures of some of the bourgeoisie, which is the rise of almost the middle class or upper middle class. It's just beautiful. I love these ladies. Those are leather. Look at how tiny those hands are. And to find ways to bring people in. Look at this. I don't know what this totally is. It's fascinating. Catalogs. How department stores created. Look at these. It's beautiful. Drawings telling you things you could purchase. Okay, we have now hit the China. See what I mean about the unusual items? I don't know what that is, but it's beautiful. Battery. I don't know if it held tobacco. I don't know what that means. Those would be tiny. Someone tell me. Just beautiful. I think those look like calling card cases. Oof. Then of course we have China and clocks. How many of you love clocks? Never have enough. They have stories on them. This is all 19th century, so you're talking about the 1800s. So you can see the style of furniture. Neoclassicism, they call it. Not quite as much gold. A lot of marquetry. It's quite a painting. And look at her. Isn't she a beauty? This museum is just filled with this sort of thing. Odds and ends, bits and pieces. Look at the top of this table. That is outside, but it gives you an idea of the detail. This was removed from some home. The sign said this was in a Parisian townhome about the mid-1700s. Look at the curves. Can you imagine opening up that curved center, or curved corner? Beautiful. That is so interesting. Now you know why it's called the Musée Arts Décoratifs. Just little bits of all sorts of things. Look at that planter. Resembles. Compare. Look at that. The Asian influence. Little chinoiserie. Starts to change now. Move into the Art Deco period. Very different. Oh my. The railing. Okay, we are now in the shop. Oh my gosh, look at this. Very cool. Engraving to color. Oh, they're just little notebooks. Look at these. This is a famous embroidery thread company. It's really wonderful if you ever want to get on their list. There's a woman in Paris who does tours if you are an embroidery person. Beautiful. But look at, they're located, I think, in the second arrondissement in Paris. I just love these. I don't know how to do that, and I don't have the patience for embroidery, but I love it. Look at this. These are cute little children things. Multiplication. And then the answer on the back. Let's see. Look at all those. Aren't those fun? I might be able to use this. French. Oh, interesting. First group, second group. We've got bags, umbrellas. There's a full guide. That's the new symbol. Musée. Arts Décoratifs. Beautiful fan. Love the scarf. Huh. But you can see there's just a multitude of things. I think these are cute. It's only an espresso cup. The handle's bigger than the cup. And now we're into books. I love how the old reflects in the new building. I think that's so beautiful. We're on Rue de Rivoli. The Louvre is right behind me. One of the cafes I mentioned is right over in that corner. It's a very busy area with tourists, but it's also very busy during the week because there's a lot of office buildings, government buildings all around here. But you can see Rivoli as far as the eye can go. And as you just saw in the magazine collection, when Napoleon III approved redoing Paris, this is one of the streets that's completely reimagined.